Hello and welcome to the SheerLuxe Show. I'm Georgie Corridge-Cole and I have got a great show for you today, from fashion to fragrance to self-tan to a fascinating interview. First, we're back with a good old-fashioned panel chat to delve deeper into the hot topics we've been talking about this week. Then we have a fragrance haul with Charlotte Collins and Lori Woodhouse, followed by an interview with best-selling children's author Holly Smale, who was recently diagnosed with autism at the age of 38. We're going to touch on how girls in particular often go undiagnosed and how she deals with autism in her everyday life. We also have a week in outfits with SheerLuxe's Heather Steele. And finally, London's leading spray tanner, James Harknett, who has bronzed the limbs of practically every celebrity you can think of. He's giving us a tutorial on how to achieve the perfect tan at home. But first, it's a bit of chit-chat, and it's long overdue. Welcome, Rhea Cartwright.
Hello.
Friend of the show, and Lou Huff.
Hi.
This is our first panel chat on the sofa this year.
That's mad.
It's
that's
July.
Completely mad. It's the 1st of July today.
Pinch punch, first of the month. I forgot to say White Rabbits.
Well, I've not done that either, actually, yet.
Damn it. Welcome, ladies.
I'm thrilled to be here. I feel very privileged. I didn't know I was the first one of the year. So
You were.
It's got to be you, Rhea. It's got to be
We're
you.
like, we want Rhea on the first panel chat.
Thanks, guys.
No pressure.
Yeah, like
Bring
must
your A
perform.
game.
Bring your opinions.
Yeah. Yeah, bring your opinions.
Well.
She's got loads of them. So we're fine.
Always.
We're going to start off by saying it was Princess Di's, would have been Princess Di's 60th birthday if she was still alive.
I don't know why I'm so surprised that it's 60, but actually she was a few years younger than my mum, so obviously that makes sense.
I'm 40, which makes, she's definitely 60. I mean, we were saying earlier, she was 37 when she died, which is mad.
I know.
Because it's probably not that far away from you, a few years. But, you know, I'm older than her, and I just thought, I mean, she was such a grown-up. She did so much in 37 years, didn't she?
I know.
I actually had a great chat on Monday with Mary Greenwell, you know, who was a makeup artist, and she just said she was just the kindest, like the softest soul ever. And I guess, you know, chatting to her so early on in the week with today being her birthday, it was such a poignant call. And I just feel like a woman of that presence and that caliber is what the world could really do with right now. You know, like it's like a hug in a person.
I feel rubbed.
I know.
Yeah.
Rubbed?
Robbed.
That'd be nice too. She could rub my arm. That would be nice. She could just stroke my arm. No, I feel robbed. I feel like we've been robbed of someone who would have been just such a wonderful role model for us all.
Yeah,
And
she
her
was.
outfits now, like what would she be wearing now? I want to see her style.
I know. Do you have an all-time favourite look for her?
Oh,
You did that
the
not long
one
ago,
that's
didn't
kind of in my head is like her 80s sportswear, which I can see right now, like the oversized sweatshirt, her cycling
She
shorts.
should be in a Sporty and Rich.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
shouldn't she?
Yeah,
She'd
like
carry
the
that off.
kind of
I feel like
pulled
she's
up white
probably on
socks and
everyone's
cool
mood
soles.
board now, actually, for
Yeah.
for brands that have that kind of look, because
Yeah.
everyone, like all the girls on the street dress like her anyway now.
Yeah.
So
Harry's over on his own, and they are unveiling a statue in her memory, and the boys get to hang out, hopefully repair some,
patch things up.
rebuild some bridges. That would be nice, wouldn't it? Anyway, next on the list, Love Island.
I've got to admit, so I was so excited for it to start, and it's kind of all I've been wanting the last couple of months. And then the first one, it just didn't quite ignite the feeling that I was hoping to have. And then I didn't watch it the last 2 nights, and I watched Wimbledon, which we'll talk about after, but
I know.
How has it been
it's a
so far?
shame, isn't it, that kick-off of Love Island there was football,
yeah,
tennis, and Love Island night. I mean, the channel.
yeah.
Looking, did you see
Yeah.
Piers Morgan? Piers Morgan tweeted. He said there are people actually choosing to watch Love Island over the football. He goes, I never wish to meet these people. And then someone else straight back and said, come on, I bet you were channel flicking. Slash, A, they don't want to meet you, Piers. I'm really sorry you missed your bubbles. And I bet you had a cheeky look at Love Island. Anyway.
I've not watched it.
You've not watched Love
I've
Island?
not watched this year. I mean, I have.
But previously, have you been a really big
Yeah,
fan?
yeah.
Okay.
You know, I loved the year that had like Wes and Josh, and then the year before
And
that.
Chris and Kem?
Yeah, and Chris and Kem.
Yeah, that was the best season.
Yeah.
Olivia, was she in that one?
Yes.
That was the best year.
Yeah.
They are, I have to say, I'm thrilled. They're not all tiny, tiny, tiny size 8, which I think is brilliant. How it's on TV in 2021.
Yeah.
Okay, the girls now have more normal bodies, but how 5 women lined up in a swimsuit being picked by a man.
Yeah.
It's
so
just
weird.
Actually, they're picking the men. Work in progress. But I mean, it is just it's extraordinary in the world of like
No, but the
he,
guys
she,
pick
other.
them.
How is it on?
Yeah,
How does
completely.
it's so crazy. I think, with Caroline Flack's passing last year and, the 2 other suicides, in other years, I'm just like, how are we still allowing this to happen?
It should have been like.
I think that's it. Yeah. I mean,
there's so many reasons for Caroline Flack for their mental health, but for the role, the fact that my children can see this is on, and it's girls in swimsuits on TV. I mean, it's just...
But the other thing I have to say though, as I was talking to my friend about it, actually I think last night, is that there's something so like therapeutic about it, and I feel like at a time when we've been like so alone, like in lockdown, to see these people like bond, I can imagine this year people will get really invested in it because of that reason. Like we've missed human connection, so to see people, it's like
totally.
And most other things, like with the news, and I think with a lot of shows and films, they've all been very heavy.
I think they're all quite boring on Love Island. I'm really, I can't see where the drama is going to come from.
And I was speaking to Polly about it this morning, and she was saying that none of them really fancy each other yet, so there isn't the kind of a real love connection yet. So I think then it's just, they're sort of not that exciting.
Those people call it bombshells. We need maybe some bombshells.
We need Rhea in there. We need you to go and like.
I would love.
Okay, not a good idea.
I just think I would just want to be napping or tanning. Like I just want to. I'm a professional tanner.
If you had to go on like one of those shows,
tanner?
Do
you love sunbathing?
I love sunbathing.
Do you?
Yeah, no,
I'm
already
brown.
No, I know, and I'm people are like, but you're already brown. I'm like, I mean, I've got quite a nice tan now, but I tan with sorry, we've really changed subject. I tan with a scarf on my face. So I'm
tan with a what?
A scarf. I put a scarf on my face and I'll just lie there.
I don't think you'd be great content if that's how you're going to be.
No, exactly. I'd be so boring. Like, just go away.
We got challenge now.
No.
Rhea, you should not be someone.
I know. I'm like, look at my freckles. Like, it's sun damage. I'm like, let's just call them freckles.
We've written a feature. It's going tomorrow on the fact that freckles might be all the rage, but they can also be sun damage.
Yeah, exactly.
So draw them on. Don't lie in the sun. We're all over the place. Anyway, I'm quite enjoying Love Island. I'm struggling to see where the drama's going to come from.
Okay.
I was a bit bored, but like you, to me, it's just like you were saying. It's sort of therapy. It's a
good switch off from that.
It's a switch off that I really relish. It's Wimbledon. It's the Euros. I think we beat Germany. I'm not really sure what comes next, other than I assumed we'd won the whole thing, given the noise that was going on. I was like, we've won. James was like, no, we're into the quarterfinals.
So we're nearly finished, thank God.
So we're nearly finished.
So are you not into football at all?
There's 3 matches.
Oh no, honestly, I can't think of anything worse.
No, me neither. I mean, neither.
Oh yeah, I mean, I just. It's it's also therapeutic because I get alone time, so that's why football is great. It's a distraction for men.
Okay.
I hate, and honestly, it's so boring. Like when I was a kid, I loved it because like my dad would take me to like Highbury and stuff, and I think footballers for the most part are quite hot, some of them, but like apart from that, I'm just like no, like
not your bag.
You're kicking balls. I'm quite bored. I'll have a bath.
Me too. Me too. I'm with you. Let me know when it's half time, and I'll come and join you for a drink. Anyway, when it's England, I'm a bit more interested, but we just have a habit of disappointing ourselves.
I know,
don't we? So.
I do think if we won, though, it'd be great for morale.
Yeah,
it'd be great for the country.
But I feel like we've
Love
got...
Island gives me joy. I'm very aware.
Yeah.
Very aware at the amount of people getting a lot of joy, and I'm thrilled for them. I just don't want to watch it myself.
No. Yeah, but Wimbledon, I am fully there. We watched the Andy Murray match last night, which went on for like 3 hours, 45 minutes or something like that. Insane. Did you watch it?
No, I was out at a friend's leaving dinner and I missed it and I was gutted.
It was so good. And by the end of it, he was like really getting the crowd going. And he said in his like little speech at the end, he was like, there's a couple of people that I eyeballed in the crowd who really got me going. And he was like, after every point, I looked at them and like they gave me encouragement. And like, I don't know, it was just great.
Nice. I love watching him. I went to Wimbledon on Tuesday. Thank you, Sip Smith, who kindly invited me to Wimbledon. And went to centre court. It was a bit of a grey day on Tuesday, but
Yeah.
I did get to watch Federer. And
Oh, the legend.
my husband was saying every time you watch Federer, you think, God, is this the last time I'm going to get to see? You know, I've seen him play a few times live, and you're like, God, is this the last time? Is this the last time? Anyway, it wasn't a brilliant match because of the injury, but God, when you get to watch people like him and Murray and whatever, it's
just
so
insane.
just so the talent. Although Federer's not on his A game, but the way they
I find watching tennis so mesmerising, and I kind of go into a bit of trance as well.
therapeutic again, isn't it?
It's and also when I watch it, I think I could definitely do that. I can't.
Well, it's a shame it's all at once. That's all I can say.
Yeah, it's you know, like who kind of planned this schedule? Like there is so much going on.
I was sitting at Wimbledon on Tuesday behind a guy who had, in fact, there were quite a few of them, had a thing in his ear, a radio in his ear, listening to the football. I was like, dude, you might want to turn that down because I'm here to watch the tennis and I can hear the football.
That's so funny.
How was it COVID-y in the
I mean, what COVID?
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
COVID?
that's another thing, actually.
I'm waiting for every person that went to Wimbledon being pinged and whatever. I mean, it's a testing case, sorry.
Yeah.
It's a whatever that means. I think they're testing how it goes.
Okay.
And it's funny to me, like sport's allowed to get away with it. You know, like with Wembley on
My
whatever
son's
day it
sports
was.
day today, and he's leaving the school he's at. I'm not allowed to watch.
I just think
But
I was allowed to go to Wimbledon and sit in a stand with thousands.
That's
of people.
crazy for me. You know, like that's
crazy.
super unfair.
Well,
It's crazy.
It makes money.
Well, yeah.
This is true. Anyway, we're nearly out of time. Before we finish, we've got to talk about knickers. There's time for knickers, right?
I love this topic.
Apparently, Holly Willoughby, shock horror, announced she doesn't sleep in her knickers. And the world's gone mad.
I didn't know where this came from until I was briefed. So obviously,
I'm
was
just
like,
checking I got it right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I was like,
That's
oh, that's where it came from. I mean, are we exposing our kind of bed habit? I mean, my mum was always like,
Go for
my
it.
mother and my grandmother is always like, you don't wear knickers to bed.
Yes, me too.
Because you need an airing. You know,
You need
like,
an airing.
like
You
a
need to air
cupboard
your
needs to
VJ.
be open.
Yeah.
So,
Hang on, but is Holly saying she doesn't wear anything? Like she sleeps nude, or she just doesn't wear pants?
I
but she'll
don't
wear
have that
shorts
from
or
her.
whatever?
I'll
like,
ask
what do
her.
they call that? A Winnie the Pooh. When you wear a top and no knickers, it's called a Winnie the Pooh.
it.
Yeah, and that's
love that.
Yeah, it's quite a cool analogy. But
I'm a Winnie the Pooh.
Winnie the Pooh.
No, top and no knickers. I used to sleep totally naked.
Yeah.
I don't anymore. I don't know if it's children, not because they don't want them to be naked, but if I had to run up the stairs and I bumped into my nanny or something, that would be awkward. Or someone said, what if a burglar comes and you're naked?
Oh,
You know,
here you
or
go.
there's a fire or something. And I find if I'm wearing like a set, then I won't wear them.
Yeah.
But if I'm wearing a top, if I'm Winnie the Poohing,
Yeah.
and I don't like
Winnie the
things on my
Pooh.
legs,
Yeah.
they get in the way. It gets in the way.
Same, I can't sleep in anything on my
John
legs.
Bottoms.
Awful.
Talk me through how that does not irritate people when you turn over.
I just think we wear clothes all the time.
Yeah.
Like, have a break. You
Yeah.
know, like, maybe even for our skin, like, just let everything
Have a break.
breathe. Like, be free.
Don't bother
For
yourself.
8 hours, if you get 8
Yeah.
hours, just hang out.
I
you
quite
know?
like a little play suit.
Yeah. Oh, a play
What?
A play suit.
Yeah, I
But
don't know
is
what
that
you
not
call it.
difficult to go to the toilet?
Yeah, you pull it to the side.
Okay.
Talk and I about this conversation.
Okay.
Bodies, you pull them to the side.
Yeah.
Or my favourite is my new. Is that a really awful thing to say? Everyone's got the giggles now. Jack, poor Jack. We've got a 16-year-old doing work experience with us on the auto cue. He's laughing,
Horrified.
trying not to. Anyway, sorry, Jack. I'm giving you all the tips, so you know. Everyone's laughing. Rich is laughing. I'm a Winnie the Pooh. Is it Winnie the Pooh pants and a top? Is that
No,
No
no
pants,
pants.
no
no
pants,
pants
just a
and a
top.
Okay, I'm not Winnie the Pooh then. What are you?
I-
Change the subject quickly.
I
Get me out of
am-
it.
I'm with shorts, no pants, and a top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same.
But I would never do long trousers. Stress me out.
So the trend for women wearing boxer shorts talks to you then?
Yes, totally talks to me. I love that.
I've never done that, actually, but
It's
I
a
imagine
new-
that's
it's a
very
new thing.
comfortable.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
New
new.
thing.
It's like a big knicker, though, isn't it? Like, or
Yeah.
a short.
Yeah.
But I think nice
It's just
like
like a nice
you have a
shorts.
bit of air. You have a bit of an airing.
That's
yeah, but
true,
then
yeah.
you're sort of
Yeah.
concealing yourself.
Nicola
Air
Cartwright
your
would be
VJ,
thrilled.
Air your VJ and.
But if the burglar
if the
comes,
burglar
you're sorted.
comes,
Yeah, exactly.
you're burglar appropriate.
Yeah.
All the boxes stitched. There we go. We've worked it out, Holly. Where you're going wrong is you need to get yourself some men's boxes. I think that's it. What fun to chat for hours. Next up, we have listened to the SL viewers, and here she is. It's Heather Steele's Week in Outfits. Enjoy.
Hello, my name is Heather Steele. I'm lifestyle editor at SheerLuxe, and this is my Week in Outfits. To start the week off, it was a little bit cold and rainy outside, so I know it's the middle of summer, but I have got a pair of tights on. So this particular outfit, I'm wearing a Margaret Howell cord dress, which is actually a really dark brown colour. It's part of a MHL range, which is the sort of more affordable side of her clothing line, and I love it because it's got massive pockets all over. I'm also wearing some COS shoes, which I've had for ages, and I always keep stashed under my desk. I've also worn a shirt, which if you've been watching behind the scenes or the SheerLuxe Show for ages, you'll recognise it as a Zara one, which half the office had about 3 years ago. It's probably the best £30 I've ever spent because I still wear it all the time, and I love anything that's got a massive collar. So in a similar vein to the last shirt, this Ganni dress, which I've just got in the sale, has also got a massive collar. It's one of those dresses that I've had my eye on for absolutely ages, but I was just waiting and hoping it would go into the sale, and it finally did a couple of weeks ago, so I'm very much enjoying wearing it around. It's black, which is my favourite colour to wear. It's got a large collar, and it's also really floaty with pockets. I decided to team it up with some new Russell & Bromley clogs, which are really, really comfy, which I wasn't quite expecting. I really like taking a nice sort of chiffon, delicate dress and pairing it with really large, chunky shoes, so these ones paired really well. When I find a dress I really like and they do it in multiple colours, I often tend to wait until there's a sale on and try and buy them in as many patterns and colourways as possible. And this is exactly what I've done with this Ganni dress. So I've got one that's white, pink and blue, which I bought about 18 months ago that I was saving for a wedding. I love the frilly details on it and the massive sleeves. I've paired these with a yellow pair of jigsaw shoes, which we have in the office. I tend to mostly wear dresses as I like to buy things that I can wear all the time, and this is one that I definitely feel you can dress up for occasions because it's got the huge sleeves and the frill details on the top which make it seem a bit more special. I love oversized dresses, as you can see, but this one really does take it to the extreme. I really love the pattern detail on it, which really works well against the huge size of the dress, and I also love that it's got massive pockets as well. This was the first Meadows dress I ever bought, which I found in a shop called Our Daily Edit in Brighton, and the first time I wore it was on the SheerLuxe Show last September. I've worn them with some leather Russell & Bromley fisherman shoes with a nice delicate gold buckle. I feel like they're a nice contrast to the size of the dress and the overall look. You might notice a bit of a trend with this, but this is yet another Ganni dress. But this one is quite different for me because it's much more form-fitting than what I'd usually go for. It's got a really nice silk texture to it, and it's got a zip at the back as well, which means you can actually walk without feeling restricted. Ganni's quite well known for using a lot of leopard print in its designs, and this is one that, again, I had my eye on a while, and it came into the sale a couple of weeks ago. I don't actually have loads of pairs of shoes, and I never wear heels, but I tend to buy ones that I know will go with lots of different outfits. So again, I've worn these ones with my Tevas because I feel like they dress down the sort of silkiness of the rest of the outfit. And like the rest of the week, I'm wearing a version of red lipstick, which is pretty much what I wear every day. This is another Ganni dress that I really love, and it was actually, I think, the first one I ever bought from the brand. It's bright green, so it always makes me think of summer. And because it's a shirt dress, it's something that I can wear all the time. It's really versatile. It's something I can wear to work, I can wear into the office, or I can also wear at the weekends, or it's something that I can also take on holiday with me too. I know these Teva sandals are probably divisive, but they're something that I've had in my wardrobe for a couple of years now, and I wear them all the time during the summer because they're really, really comfy. And again, I like that sort of ugly sandal versus a nice dress look. Again, like with Ganni, Meadows is a brand that I return to all the time, and this final look is another Meadows dress that I've been wearing a lot this summer on its own. Because it was a little bit chilly, I decided to pair it with a gilet that I got from Our Daily Edit in Brighton from a brand called A Bronze Age. I really like the clashing prints, even though when you get up close you can see that they've both got small flowers on, so I feel like there's a little bit of continuity there. And the shoes are the same ones I've worn earlier in the week too. So in short, as you can see, the vibe at this time of year, and to be honest, throughout the year, is just really long dresses that have got a bit of give and floatiness to them, paired with some flat shoes and red lipstick. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you soon.
Thank you, Heather. What a fab array of dresses. I promise you the links will be in the notes below. Now, earlier this week, Charlotte Collins had the fun job of chatting all about summer fragrances. Take a look.
One of the things we're asked about most frequently at SheerLuxe is where to find the most amazing under-the-radar fragrances. Well, today I'm joined by Lori Woodhouse from luxury perfume house Kilian. She's here to chat to us about their range of summer fragrances, which I must say look incredibly chic and most importantly smell absolutely incredible. Kilian aims to create products that embody luxury and sophistication, and they're certainly off to a good start with these choices. So welcome, Lori. I mean, sophistication is like the word, isn't it?
Absolutely, and I love that you describe these as being kind of a bit under the radar. You know, they are not everywhere, and I think that's for me like a uniqueness in the brand if you want to smell not like everybody else.
So just a little bit about the brand for those who don't know. What is Kilian? Where's it come from? What do we need to know?
So Kilian is from Paris. So the fragrance house itself is very French style of perfumery. However, Kilian likes to break the boundaries a little bit. He loves to have fragrances that last on the skin. So for him, like the ultimate compliment would be if you could still smell the fragrance on your scarf, maybe even on your pillowcase. If you were looking at it like a recipe, he'll put more into the base notes, which are the ones that really help to give the longevity and kind of that really great fusion to the skin.
Okay, love that. That's exactly what I'm after, longevity. So can you talk us through some of the ones we've got here? I mean, as I said in my intro, I mean, these are stunning. Look at these bottles.
I mean, the bottle design and the packaging is amazing. They're all refillable as well, which I think is when we talk about sustainability, huge and important, but also because the bottles themselves are like little jewels and you want to pass these down in your family. Kilian really believes you can wear fragrance as a weapon of seduction or a shield of protection.
Oh, I love that. I know what you mean as well, because it is. It's part of your persona. When you enter a room, you want to smell a certain way as well as look a certain way, don't you?
Absolutely. And in the summer months, we're kind of dancing around lighter fragrances. So we're going to start off, you know, with an Eau Fraiche fragrance, which is vodka on the rocks. But we've got everything from intoxicating florals right down into something that's a bit more of a richer, woodsy impression. I think it's about finding what's right for you and a personality that's right for you. So if we think about the first one, this is vodka on the rocks.
Vodka on the rocks, great name.
And this is like the sensation of pouring vodka over the ice. And when you hear that crack on the ice that we all love, and I'll just give this one a spray for you. Please. There we go.
Waft it towards. I'm getting quite good at the wafting towards myself.
So this one does have a cooling sensation of aldehydes. That's what you're smelling off of that sort of initial like top really burst note. But then it also warms down into warm wood. So this is a woodsy fresh. For me, if for somebody who wants a lighter fragrance but wants that bit of longevity, it's the notes like sandalwood that will really help to keep this on the skin. But gorgeous. These are, again, completely genderless. So this could be worn on a man or a woman.
I was going to say, they're all entirely unisex, presumably. Great. I love that. Very sexy. Okay, what's next? We've got Love, Don't Be Shy.
Love, Don't Be Shy. Now, the secret I love about this one is it's actually worn by Rihanna. So people tell her she smells like heaven. So if you want to know what heaven smells like, it smells like Love, Don't Be Shy.
Noted, thank you.
This is, Kilian would call this like a sexy treat for adults. This is a fragrance that should make you so irresistible that somebody wants to take a bite out of you. So let's spray this one.
Okay, everybody, team, stay away from me for later today. Oh, I love that.
So this is a gourmand floral harmony.
Yes.
So this sits in what he calls the narcotics collection because he believes that florals are so tempting, it's almost like you're intoxicated. So this is Love, Don't Be Shy as a marshmallow accord. So that's this sort of edible gourmand side to it that's just going to make somebody want to take a bite out of you. It contains marshmallow, which is that really gorgeous, like they should want to take a bite out of you. But then it has things like orange blossom as well. So it is like really nicely tempered to give that little bit of gourmand edge with a bit of a floral edge.
It's so sweet, but in a good way. Like it's not sickly, it's just like heavenly. I know exactly what you mean. It's like walking through a garden that smells beautiful.
Smells like heaven, so we love
that. And I mean, you can't go wrong with Rihanna as a fragrance inspo, can you?
I think so too.
That's cool. Okay, number 3, speaking of Rihanna, Good Girl Gone Bad.
Good Girl Gone Bad. So this, again, is this duality, this half voluptuous side with this sort of half temptress side. It has a whirlwind of white flowers. So if you really love your white florals, and in particular, Kilian loves tuberose. A lot of important women in his life have always worn tuberose. This has the osmanthus in it. This is what gives it that sort of like apricot sort of slight feel to it, but again, it has a bit of warm woods in the dry down. It has a little bit of orange blossom in there too, but you should feel like you are so intoxicated by this whirlwind of white flowers.
That's definitely the most floral. That's lovely. I really like that.
Definitely, yeah. And the next one, we're going to be leaving the floral category, and we're going to be going down into the cellars category, which, you know, Kilian himself comes from the Hennessy family, so a lot of the ingredient actually is based around cognac, or it could be based around rum, but you know, it's about
vodka we've had,
vodka, and it's really about kind of owning the night. A lot of this sort of like party edge too. This is straight to heaven.
Straight to heaven.
So if Love Don't Be Shy smelt like heaven, this one's going to take you straight to heaven. This is, when we talk about this woodsy harmony, this is something that's a little bit richer and a little bit deeper. So let's spray this one for you.
Hang on. Oh, I love that. Smoky, dark.
Smoky, dark, really quite sexy. Kilian will call this one sex in a bottle. Yeah. It's so alluring, right? So it's got this gorgeous kind of alluring potion. This contains a little bit of rum, which is nice. And then it's balanced with a little bit of fruit, like dried fruits, a little bit of vanilla. Love that takes you straight to heaven.
Straight to heaven. I agree. I can confirm. It absolutely does. Okay, number 5. I mean, this is beautiful though all the other bottles are. This one is obviously the standout, isn't it? This is so cool.
It's so cool and so clever. So obviously coming from the background of the cognac makers and the Hennessy family, already having this sort of affinity with the bar concept and this sort of party vibe, we are now going into the liquors, which is a different packaging from Kilian Perfume as an Art. Yeah. We do 2 different fragrances. The one that we're going to share with you today is Angel Share. Okay. Now, for those of you who are familiar with cognac making, you know that the evaporation process means that we lose some of the cognac from the barrels and it goes straight to heaven to the Angel Share, and that's what they call the Angel Share. Okay. So this particular fragrance does contain cognac, as it is part of the heritage of Kilian and his family. It contains, again, you've got this warmth and beauty of cognac, and it has a little bit of oak wood in it as well.
And is there like an apple-y, a cinnamony? It's that.
There's cinnamon and hazelnut.
So that's so different as well to anything else I've ever smelled. I mean, that's so unusual. I love it.
It smells good enough to eat as well.
Yeah, it really does. I really, really like that. And that bottle is stunning. I mean, what a great gift for somebody.
Gorgeous gift, and it's also refillable.
Let's talk about lipsticks very quickly. Obviously, this is a fragrance. It's a fragrance haul, but we couldn't not talk about these incredible lipsticks because they link to fragrance, don't they?
They do. So, I mean, for Kilian, he wants to make, you know, the non-visible visible. So perfume isn't visible, but lipstick is. And when we think about summer and we think about, you know, maybe even occasion moments, so these could very easily be either a wedding fragrance for anyone that is getting married or celebrating. Also great for summer scenting. These these lipsticks do have a scent in them as well. And it's actually the same scent as Love Don't Be Shy.
I love that. How clever. Okay, and do you think you have to match them if you're going to go for a lipstick? Do you have to match it, or do they complement each other? You can go. They
complement each other, and it's really lovely. And I think it's just a different way to experience scent. I also think, you know, when we talk about moods and impressions, you know, fragrance is a great way to make a mood or an impression. It makes you feel, like you said earlier, it just makes you feel a certain way if you walk into a room. For me, like lipstick also has that moment of whether that's like empowerment. So it could be my shield of protection. It could be my weapon of seduction. And we have different finishes and different shades to do that. So like the packaging is stunning. So it's got the shield of protection over the packaging, but then you've got 2 different textures of either satin or matte. We do them in the same shades. So let's say you're like, I love that in satin, but I really wish it came in matte. It can come in a matte texture too. And then it has the gorgeous scent of Love Don't Be Shy, which again, it's quite personal to you, or if you let somebody a little closer to you.
Okay, I'm gonna have a little sniff of those afterwards. I love that, Lori. Thank you so much. I mean, the brand really does embody glamour. We keep saying sexiness, but it really does. It's sexy. It's cool. I love it. I'm officially converted. Thank you so much, Lori. I absolutely love that. Amazing fragrances and a red lip. What a great combo. Thanks. I hope you all enjoyed it too. All of the products will of course be linked in the show notes below, and please do check out Kilian's website at bykilian.co.uk.
Welcome back. I do love a new scent for a new season, so I definitely want one of those. They look awesome. Thank you. Next today, we have one of the best spray tanners in the business. He's worked on numerous movie sets, fashion campaigns. I mean, there are too many to mention. And with 21 years experience under his belt, what he doesn't know about tanning is just not worth knowing. Anyway, here he is giving us his do's and don'ts on how to achieve the best self-tan application at home. Apparently, it's all in the prep.
Hi, I'm James Harknett. I'm a tanning expert and I've been in the beauty industry for 20 years. And as a spray tanner, I get to speak to a lot of clients and find out what their needs are. And a lot of people come back to me and they do struggle with their tans at home. That's why they come to me for a spray. So I want to give you some tips of how to do the perfect tan. So when it comes to your tanning prep, it's really important to prepare the skin first. And a lot of people for many years think they need to really heavily exfoliate straight before the tan. My advice is have a very gentle scrub on your skin the day before. So all like the skin can renew for the tan to cling to evenly the next day when you do your tan. So I always stick by the Ren products. I love them. And you just have to be very, very gentle with it. And the very smallest spherical beads in the product just dance very gentle on the skin. So it can prepare it really nicely for you. But for something a little bit more heavy duty, use something like this from Sanctuary, because it's like sugar scrub. And it really does take off like the dead skin, especially on the feet, on the elbows as well, because our elbows produce less natural moisture. So the next part of your preparation is to moisturize the skin, but only on dry areas where tan can often cling to. Sort of think for areas which are less fleshy, so to speak. Now, I always say use something oil-free, okay? So I like to use E45 because I've got very sensitive skin. My skin also gets quite dry, so I can use this as aftercare as well. And when we get to tanning in a moment, and I'm going to show you how to get the perfect hand. Taking the E45, and I just start on the top of the hand here, a little bit round the wrist, because you don't want the tan to actually come onto the palm of your hand, and then just gently into the knuckles. Actually do look a little clench of the fist there, so it goes into the folds and into the cuticles as well. So when you come to putting your tan on, it doesn't grab too dark on the hands. I'm going to use a really lovely product today. It's called Flawless. It's by Fake Bake, and it's a pump dispenser and it's a liquid tan. But what's so lovely about it and why I love it so much is you can see where it's going, so you have complete control. So as well as the face, the second part of our body that's on show the most is our hands. And that's the #1 area in self-tanning where people struggle and they feel self-conscious about it. So I want to give you just a few little tips of how to get the perfect hands. So what I do with my Fake Bake Flawless liquid is just spray it and disperse it onto a little saucer here. And this is for the hands. So on your moisturized hand, you take the tan on the brush and just paint it along the hands, into the knuckles, down like so, working it in so you get a bronzed hand without it being too thick and too deep, and you can have complete control with where it's going rather than just too much that looks like it's been mitted on. And so you can be quite delicate with the way that it moves onto the skin. And then you have a lovely golden hand without it looking fake at all. So especially this time of year, I never want to put tan directly onto my face. Tan can be quite dehydrating at the best of times. So what I always recommend is a light layer of moisture. Also, it can thin the tan out, so it doesn't have to be too dark for the winter months. I love this product by Barbara Stern. It's absolutely beautiful. I do a thin layer just before I tan, and then I can use my mitt or brush just to put on a very light layer. You can also use this to mix it with tanning drops if that's what you prefer. If you're tanning in the evening, ladies, tie your hair back if you've got longer hair, maybe wear a shower cap, and also clean your teeth before you do the tan so that when it comes to cleaning them, you haven't got to put your head down and any toothpaste leak down the mouth. So a big question is, can you tan while you're pregnant? So what I say to ladies is wait for the first trimester, those 12 weeks to pass, and then start your tanning again. During those first 3 months, your skin is going all over the place, the hormones are changing in your body, and that can affect how the tan works, because remember, fake tan is not a body paint, it's not a makeup, it's something that works quite scientifically with your skin. So sometimes, particular times of the month with a lady's cycle can also affect how your tan works. So once you've completed your tanning application, what you need to do is wear something very loose and so that your skin can dry, the tan can dry. I always recommend using the hairdryer. I use the Dyson and I just blast it on and it dries the skin immediately so you feel really nice and comfortable and not sticky. Also avoid any moisturizers which have heavy oil content because that can start to strip the tan prematurely. If you're working out, a little bit of powder in your sports bra or just around the breasts, and that will stop the materials just scratching against the skin, which can tear off the tan. So thank you for tuning in, and if you need any more tanning tips, you can catch me on Instagram. It's James Harknett _tan, and plus I've got plenty of tanning tips. Do it at home on SheerLuxe.com.
Welcome back. Thank you, James. That was great. Now, I'm joined by somebody I have so been looking forward to meeting. You might have heard of Holly Smale if your children are avid readers, because she is a best-selling author of the Geek Girl series. Recently, Holly has been in the press talking about her autism diagnosis at the age of 38. She's really passionate about wanting to speak out about this and about, in particular, how girls are often misdiagnosed or not diagnosed at all. Holly, what a pleasure to have you. We have so been looking forward to this. I can't tell you. Thank you for being here. Can we start a little bit? Can you give us a bit of background as to why, what your upbringing was like, and about why you went off and got a diagnosis? You've written, I'm just going to jump and say, I was going to talk about the books later, but you've written Geek Girl.
Yes.
And you wrote this series that is incredible and so popular. And the girl in it isn't labelled as autistic.
No, because I didn't know I was either.
But you now know that she is.
Yes.
Because you were basically writing a character that was like yourself.
Yeah, exactly. So it's this weird diagnosis where my character was essentially diagnosed before I was, which is a weird way around, I guess. I knew I was different from the age of 3. So my first memory when I was 3 was of sitting in the corner of my first day of nursery and staring out the window and seeing all these children playing outside in the sunshine, and realising that I was nothing like them. And realising that I had no interest in playing and no idea why they were playing or why they would want to. So I knew that, and I kind of thought I was an alien, essentially. I kind of thought that I had been, beamed down and put on the wrong planet. So that was how I knew from that age. And I didn't mind at 3, but then I got to school and everyone kept pointing it out. And I found it really, really difficult because, I would hide under tables when I was overwhelmed, and I would have meltdowns in the middle of supermarkets. And I would struggle to communicate with other children. Children didn't want to play with me at all. And when I got to secondary school, that got worse and worse. And I used to climb under piles of coats on the changing room floor because I was so overwhelmed and I had nowhere else to go. So basically, I spent my life knowing that I was different and not understanding why. And that carried on through my 20s, 30s, mental health problems all over the shop, because obviously you feel incredibly anxious and depressed when you think you're broken. It wasn't until I was during lockdown last year that I had a massive meltdown that was terrifying, knocked me out for a full day. And when I came to again, I was like, I have to start doing research into what's going on. It took me one night of Googling to go, I think I know what's happening here. And it was, I went to see my therapist and was like, I think I might be autistic. And she was like, yeah. I was like, how long have you known? She was like, about 3 years.
Why didn't you tell me? You've cost me 3 years.
Yeah, well, the thing is that she's not diagnostic, so she's not really allowed to say anything. And also she had been, and I realise this now, she had been working with me through it. Like, things that I struggle with. Yeah, mind-blowing.
And so you went and I apologise, my as I've said before, my son has some challenges in life, not hugely dissimilar. He's not autistic, but he has some learning difficulties. So if I'm a bit emotional, that is why. So I apologise. But I was saying how wonderful it is to meet an amazingly successful, gorgeous, impressive woman, and I think it gives you as a parent like such hope that they'll be okay on the other side.
Yeah.
And that, you know. Anyway.
Thank you.
So you went off to the doctor and
Well, I went to the GP and the GP sent me away with a flea in my ear to say that there was no way. I mean, because it was during COVID, I had to call on the phone and I said, I was wondering what the process would be for an adult diagnosis of autism. And that was the only thing I said, literally, in the conversation. And she went, autism? Don't be ridiculous. That's the sort of thing that would be picked up at school. And I was like, well, I don't think it was, obviously, or I would not be calling. And she was so rude that I ended up putting the phone down. And I sought a private psychologist instead. And yeah, so it waited 2 months instead of, I think it's 3 years on average on the NHS.
Wow.
I described it the other day as basically being under the impression that you're a duck for your entire life. And, you know, you're looking at all these other ducks and they're quacking and they're swimming and, you know, you're thinking, I can't do any of that. I am terrible at being a duck. I'm the world's worst duck and the ducks don't like me. And I'm trying to play with the ducks and they're not interested. And you spend your life thinking you're a broken duck. And then you hit nearly 40 years old and someone says, you're actually a frog. And you suddenly realize that you're not a broken duck, you're an amazing frog. And you can lean into all the things that you're really good at instead. Like I can't, you know, swim and do all the quacking, but I can jump and, you know, I can do all the things that frogs can do. So, you know, it's kind of leaning into the things that I'm brilliant at as opposed to spending my life feeling ashamed of the things I can't do.
Yeah. Oh, God. Amazing. Amazing. But we need to talk about, you know, these frogs more because it's also way more common than you think. And there will be so many people in the school system. I mean, I feel really strongly, you know, we need people like you raising awareness about all these frogs because, you know, there's a problem in girls in particular being undiagnosed, aren't there? And
yes.
It's less common. I think learning difficulties and, you know, dyslexia, dyspraxia, ADHD, all these things I think are less common in girls. Well, that doesn't mean they don't exist, but they're pretty common. Like the statistics of the chances of having one of those things are high. Yeah,
and they're changing. So, you know, historically, the studies on autism and neurodiversity was focused on boys because it was the 1920s, 1930s, and you know, the men doing the studying didn't think that women were really capable of that kind of complexity. So, you know, misogyny was right ground into the base of the studies that they did, and they didn't even look at girls. So everything that we know about it is built on boys, which makes no surprise whatsoever that, you know, 100 years later, they're still using the male diagnostic criteria that was pretty flawed in the first place to then apply it to girls as well and going, well, I'm sorry, but, you know, she doesn't like trains, so she's probably not autistic. Because the reality is that, you know, girls are, you know, culturally drawn to different things. So, you know, you might have a boy, for instance, a little boy that lines up and collects, because we like collecting, autistic people like collecting things, that collects like 50, you know, small tractors and lines them up in a nice line. And adults will look at that boy and go, we might have someone come look at him. Whereas a girl can line up 100 teddy bears in a row and people will go, oh, so cute.
She's so tidy.
She's so tidy.
I wish my daughter was that tiny.
Yeah. And all those words. So, you know, when I had meltdowns, I was being dramatic. When I had, you know, when I was hiding under tables, I was too sensitive. When I was hysterical because I was dirty, or I saw myself as dirty, maybe I had a bit of hair on me or whatever, and I became completely incoherent, it was because I was neat. So all of those kind of misogynistic words that we use towards little girls meant that I wasn't caught, I wasn't noticed.
So true. And you can see that happening, but that's why we need people like you flying the flag and being the incredible role model that you are.
Thank you. Well, you search for answers your whole life, you know, and I genuinely thought, you know, by the time I hit 38, and I'd spent a lot of time soul searching. In fact, I'd say I'd spent my entire life soul searching because I knew from the age of 3 that there was something different about me. And so I was looking for answers for decades. And, you know, it wasn't until I finally got that one word, which is why when people are like, why do labels matter? You're like, they matter because they help you to understand the way your brain works. And the reality is that autism is a neurodivergence, and it's literally neurology. So you're born with it. You can't change it. You don't we don't want to fix it. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just that it's not the normal way that a brain is wired.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it.
And you need to understand that and have that label so you can understand what you're dealing with.
Yeah.
And then, you know, make the changes or live your life in the way that's
Exactly.
therefore going to work for you. Makes total sense. I found, as a mother, I wanted, you know, you've also talked about dyspraxia. My son has dyspraxia.
Yes, and dyspraxia too.
And that's a recent thing. And, and you know, it's helpful because you then know that you struggle with certain tasks. And
yeah.
Anyway, I felt like we could talk for hours. We mustn't. I'll get in trouble. But yeah, if there are others listening, what advice would you have? I mean, you start with your GP.
Yeah, I mean, you can start with your GP. You can also go online. There's quite a lot of like online informal quizzes that you can do that can, because obviously there is lots of crossovers, especially between neurodivergences. So ADHD might look a lot like autism, might look a lot like bipolar, might look like, so there's lots of, you know, and it can help guide you in the right direction. And that's a nice place to start, just because it's, you know, in your own private, you know, it's free and it's in your own space. But yeah, a doctor. You know, that would be another good place to start. But just researching and finding out more about it is really important.
An online quiz, that's a good idea though.
Yeah.
So do you do this? Do you do this?
Yeah. They have quite in-depth ones,
Yeah.
you know, the ones that can take a fair amount of time, but can give you an idea of like, you know, whether you're in the right direction or not. You know, I mean, I was misdiagnosed as bipolar when I was a teenager, just because if you don't know what you're looking at, sometimes there can be what appear to be crossovers actually are nothing to do with it.
Talk to us about, I mean, Geek Girl, 3 million copies worldwide?
3.5, I think, yeah.
I mean, incredible.
Yeah.
And you started this in 2013. You didn't have a diagnosis. You wrote about this character. Did you know you didn't know she was going to have a diagnosis when you started writing?
No, because, you know, I was writing myself, and in 2009 when I started it, I just knew that I hadn't been able to find a book about a girl that felt like me at that time. And so I started writing, you know, that voice. And it was that, you know, obviously about a geeky girl, but it's also about a girl who struggles to communicate, struggles to process her own emotions, you know, struggles to see the world around her in the way that everyone else does. And there's nothing wrong with that. And that's the point of the book, is that she is an amazing character. She processes the world in stats and lists and facts. And, you know, often gets things wrong because she doesn't always understand what's going on around with other people. Had no idea she was autistic, but yes.
And now she's autistic. And, you know, I think, as you said, you know, would you have sold as many copies? I mean,
I don't know.
How
Back
brilliant
then,
that you've taken this so mainstream.
But hopefully, you know, the autism narrative will continue to shift and people will be open to conversation.
It's the right time for it, given everything else that has happened, the change that's happened.
Yeah.
You know, the diversity agenda. It's a great time for it, isn't it? And we, you know, we see it in a physical way, but this is something that you don't see. And I think, like, power to you. I think it's just...
I mean, Ellie McNichols just won the Waterstone Prize with her openly autistic character.
Of course,
So it's changing, you know, it's now to a point where that is, you know, no longer a barrier to people reading and enjoying and loving.
Tell us about your new book. It's called The Valentines.
Yes, it's the third and final book of my series, The Valentines.
And tell us about the series.
Yeah, it's about 3 sisters who are born to a kind of super famous acting dynasty. And so they've got everything. They've got the fairy tale. Geek Girl was always about an ordinary girl given a fairy tale, and this is very much a flip of that. So it's, you know, 3 teenage girls trying to work out what it is to be normal, and each book is a different perspective, different sister. So this is the eldest daughter who is very angry and processing a lot of trauma. So yeah, it's interesting because when I wrote them, I didn't know that I was neurodiverse, but now I'm looking at my characters and realizing...
And are any of these characters neurodiverse?
I don't know if you could classify any of the Valentine sisters as in themselves neurodiverse, but there's so many neurodiverse elements of them because I've taken them from myself. So, you know, it's yeah. I mean, I think if you took the 3 sisters and put them together, you would definitely have another autistic girl.
Got it.
Yeah.
So sprinklings of it in there.
Well, I don't know how to write like a neurotypical person because I've never been one. So,
well, congratulations on your career so far.
Thank you.
I mean, I'm in awe of you, and I just know you've got amazing things ahead. And
Thank you
I'm
very
sure
much.
you've given lots of people, and me in particular, a lot of comfort. So
Well, thank you for giving me a place to talk about it. And so
come again.
Yeah,
We must
I will.
talk for longer. We must do a podcast sometime.
Yes.
That is it for today. Thank you so much.
you.
And of course, to our other guests, Lori, James, Ria, and of course, Heather and Charlotte. On the next show, we have another great lineup. There's styling chat with the brilliant Rachel Ingram, a review of collagen in all its forms. Madeline Shaw is telling us what to eat to make us glow. We have a weekly skincare routine with top facialist Abigail James. And Jenna Nichols is coming. I mean, you don't want to miss it. It is jam-packed. In the meantime, we would love it if you could leave us a comment, a thumbs up, and do subscribe if you haven't yet. Have a wonderful day wherever you are. Bye-bye.